Coming up later, I take a very personal look at hospice care in Central Ohio, what is provided and what it allowed my mother and my family to experience in her final days. Last January was a tough month for me and my family. We watched our father pass away after a long, lingering battle with Alzheimer's disease, followed just 11 days later by our mom, whose terminal condition was diagnosed shortly before her death. My mother had the opportunity to die at home thanks to a strong family support system and the services of hospice care. Now, she agreed to allow me to show parts of that experience in hopes that it would educate others that hospice need not be a word that terrifies, but one that offers dignity to the dying and support to those who matter most. Tonight we begin a week-long look at hospice care called Hospice, My Mother's Journey.
It's hard not to be complimentary of her because she's kind of endeared herself to all the staff at the end of the hallway down there.
How you doing, kid?
Wonderfully now that I'm here.
She is a class woman, and there's just no question about that.
You'll get no argument from me or my three sisters. Our mother, Betty, grew up on Leonard Avenue in Columbus, graduating early from East High School to escape an abusive stepfather, quitting after less than 2 years at Otterbein to marry our father and begin a family. Mom knew the heartache of watching that love of her life walk away in divorce 35 years later, of living in loneliness after her youngest, my brother Phil, succumbed to cystic fibrosis. Through it all and on meager means, she remained committed to serving others. Church work, making and taking meals to shut-ins, working at Worcester's Habitat for Humanity. And she never stopped writing down her reflections of life, both happy and sad, in poetry. Like her autumn reflections about the cycles of life, recited the day she would head home with the newly diagnosed terminal leukemia.
Leaves ablaze in vibrant hues soon will fade, and then will lose their tether.
At the same time, down the hall, Dr. Patel, her oncologist, joins Dr. Pratt and hospice care representatives to give us the sad news that chemo could well kill her and that there's little left to be done.
I think your mom is pretty well aware that even with the treatment, she's not going to respond with a curative outcome.
That conclusion means that she then would move from palliative care, which is designed to alleviate pain in the chronically ill, to hospice care for the terminally ill with less than 6 months to live. But who pays for hospice care and who qualifies?
The physician and our hospice medical director have to certify that somebody is terminal, and then they're eligible for hospice services. It's covered by Medicare. It's covered by most insurances. Mount Carmel has a sliding fee scale, so if somebody doesn't have insurance, we're not going to turn them away.
We asked what's coming next.
The big ones are pain, shortness of breath, nausea, often diarrhea because people are getting artificial feedings that they can't absorb, edema. So they get very puffy and full of fluid because it's all in the wrong places. And so a lot of what we do is try to get people settled down and get them comfortable.
A lot to absorb, made easier by a mother's courage.
Because she's been so composed. I've not seen her cry.
Right.
And it's not that she's holding back. I think she's not afraid. I mean, she's afraid, but not of death as much as maybe the process of dying.
The tough message is mixed with tenderness as we get our heads around why hospice care at home is actually a blessing.
You've been given a gift of time to make some closure, to say goodbyes. And most people don't get that. You know, our loved one is snatched from us, and we don't have any time. So you can look at this as a gift.
After the talk, a moment for levity shared between mom and kids.
Wait a minute, listen up. In front of everybody, tell who your favorite child is. Right?
Oh. And heart to heart as mom prepares to go home, looking forward to time with those who matter most, reflecting on a life that often turned tragedy into triumph.
There is something good in things that happen, and hard to find it in death, but makes you stop and think what you've had that is excellent.
Including her poetry.
Some will rise on lofty breeze. Some will nurture soil and trees, for nothing is ever fully gone. Somehow, some way, it lingers on.
Tomorrow, we will continue Mom's journey with hospice-covered preparations at her home, and we'll also take a look at other services available at little or no cost that help relieve some of the emotional burden on family members who take over so much of the care. Later this week, you'll be able to call in and talk to hospice professionals to answer all of your questions about hospice. And we have posted the raw interviews with my mother online. It was her hope again and mine that her journey could help other local families facing the same struggle. There are multiple organizations dedicated to helping your family understand hospice care and make the decision that is right for your loved one. The Ohio Council for Home Care and Hospice, as well as the National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization, both offer a wealth of resources your family will need. You can find links to both of their homepages from ours, along with more on my family story, by going to NBC4i.com and search hospice.